What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast, where movies are more than just entertainment. They're a catalyst for meaningful conversations. I'm Jonathan Sprang, and I go by Sprang. And most weeks we dive into movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. But we don't stop there. We talk about the deeper ideas, the life lessons, and the morals that these films have to offer. This week, we're talking about Tom Shadyac films. The three films in particular are Evan Almighty, Bruce Almighty, and Liar Liar. Three of these films that have a really strong moral, so we wanted to take a look at those. They requested to watch Bruce Almighty. I said, let's make an episode out of it. We hope you'll jump over to our website and see all of our links. It's bio.site/movies that make you. That's bio.site/movies that make you. There you'll find all of our links to our Instagram, to each podcast stream, whether it's Apple or Spotify. You'll also find our Letterboxd link, which highlights the lists of movies that make you laugh, movies that make you cry, movies that make you scream, and everything in between. Before we dive into this week's episode, though, let's take a look at the next 4 weeks on the Movies That Make You podcast. Next week, Kristen's going to be on. We're talking Final Destination films. This is one of the horror films that she actually really enjoyed. So we rewatched all the ones leading up to the new one. Bloodlines looks amazing. Looks very scary, so we're looking forward to that conversation. Week after that, the boys are going to be back. We're talking Mission Impossible. We watched a few of the films to gear up for the final reckoning, but we're also going to rate the stunts from the Mission Impossible movies. All the ones that Tom Cruise did himself, we're going to rate them. The week after that, we're doing The Karate Kid. Daniel LaRusso is back, and Mr. Han is back. So we rewatched the original Karate Kid and also the Jaden Smith remake. So going to have a lot of fun with that conversation. The new movie looks incredible. The week after that, Scott Raymond and Kevin Raymond are both going to be on to talk John Wick movies and female assassin movies to gear up for, within the John Wick universe, The Ballerina featuring Ana de Armas. We watched 5 female assassin movies plus all the John Wick movies. So we're going to have a lot of fun having that discussion. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast.
We are back with another Movies That Make You ... podcast. I'm Ezekiel. We're going to go youngest to oldest.
I am Z.
Z.
Yes, that's going in the podcast.
Oh no. I am Colton and I'm 12.
I'm Connor, I'm 15.
And I am Sprang, and I am the dad. How old are you, Zeke?
I'm Ezekiel and I'm 11.
11. We're going to turn it up to 11 today.
And a half.
Ooh, yes. We are like 2 weeks from my birthday. I think this episode drops after my birthday, but as of this recording, and that means we're 2 months and 2 weeks from Colton's birthday. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. He's going to be a teenager.
That
I don't
sounds
know.
so weird.
No, I know. So weird.
Doesn't really act like that.
Nice one.
Yes. Today, what movies are we talking about?
We're talking about my favorite actors' movies. Okay. Jim Carrey movies. And yeah, Evan Almighty, whatever.
But what other ones? You didn't say the first two.
Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
And
Liar, liar.
Liar, liar.
yeah,
That's right.
what he said.
Very good. These are all three directed by a director named Tom Shadyac. He uses these movies to get at a moral story and tell it in a very modern way. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. Talk about the fun movies that we watched. But before we do that, let's jump into catch-ups. We're going to start doing catch-ups, like mustards. We're going to call them mustards. Let's do the mustards, guys. The mustards. Connor, why don't you go first?
Life's been good. I got a new printer. I passed my driving test, and I've been bringing up my grades. So yeah, that's good.
Nice. And which driver test did you pass?
The driving test, the last one. So
Like the written one, though. Not the actual driving. That's all.
No.
Yeah.
The written one, and then I think it's whenever I'm close to 16, then I do the driving test, and then actual driving, and then whenever I'm 16, I get my license.
Yes. Very cool. What was the biggest takeaway that maybe you didn't know before taking the tests?
Some of the stuff I forgot was the bills, fines. Say you did something bad, how much it would cost. Some of the stuff I forgot.
Okay.
But yeah.
Colton, how about you? How's your week been?
It's been good. I'm passing all classes, but next week we have STAR tests.
For our non-Texas people, what is STAR test?
It's like the one test that decides if you're smart or dumb.
Close.
That's
Also
what it
known
is.
as
I think you could
finals.
still go to the next grade if you mess up one.
Yeah, I think it determines whether you kind of met the needs for the grade, right?
I think it's like if you had all good grades all year and then you like fail some of them, I think you still pass and go to the next grade.
Even if you fail in some classes, you will still go. But it's like if you have a lot of absences, a lot of failures, and then you fail to start, then you're getting held back.
I'm not going to be able to do my elective next year if I fail STAR. So.
Are you worried about failing STAR?
A little bit, yeah.
Why?
Because I'm not smart.
Whatever.
Get
That
out.
is not true at all.
Whenever you make this into a short, can you just like put like a hammer thing and then it's gonna be like.
No, I'm
hiding
just
the
gonna
screen?
I'm just gonna repeat. I'm not smart. I'm not smart, and keep zooming in and zooming in. I'm not smart. I'm not smart.
And then it goes into my brain and then you just
I'm not
see a
smart.
hollow thing.
I'm not smart.
And then I'm gonna knock on my brain and then it's gonna.
And then they're gonna zoom back out to the podcast, and we're gonna go. That's interesting.
I know, right?
Yeah. Zeke, how was your week?
My week was awesome.
Yeah. What made it so
I think
awesome?
his week was awesome.
School.
You like school?
Yeah.
What else did we do this week? You had a doctor visit.
Oh yeah.
Got the old checkup.
Yeah. I'm having a physical for April sometime.
Why?
Because I'm doing PE for tennis.
Doing tennis. Nice.
Yay!
You're
gonna
doing
have to do it.
tennis?
Yeah,
Why didn't you tell us this?
because I'm not
Saving it for the
smart.
podcast.
There's a
Yes.
hole in my.
Yeah.
Wait,
let's fix it.
doesn't that mean you're doing athletics?
I'm not
Just-
doing it.
just
Just
not
tennis.
Yeah, just for.
You're
Stop.
gonna have to run
No.
miles.
Ma-
There
I
we
don't-
go. That's.
Is it
Zeke's
better?
got one.
I don't think it's better.
Look
It's
at
fine.
look at
It's
my
fine. Just
hairline.
leave it. Yeah, you're good. Mushroom. Mushroom top.
What does that mean?
It means your head looks like a mushroom a little bit. Like your Toad from Mario Brothers. Nice. All right. Yeah. So my week has been pretty good. Work has been really busy, which is fun and good. And we're accomplishing a lot of cool things and cool features. So lots of fun there. Yeah. Good stuff. We are also in the middle of our Mission Impossible rewatch. The first one we had the boys watch was what? Which one? Do you remember?
The fourth.
5?
7.
5? Was I right?
Yeah. Connor wins.
Yeah.
Connor wins. Yeah. Rogue Nation. Yeah. That was pretty good. So be on the lookout for that episode that drops the week that, of course, the movie comes out.
It sounds like they use like 2 random words and then just put them together and make it a movie.
It's like Fast and Furious. They change it a little bit every time.
Yeah. Well, they only started doing that after the third one. Let's save that for that podcast. But I did just have the boys start at number 5 because I didn't want to make them watch 7 movies for watching the new one that's coming out as the 8th and final one. But I started at the first one. I rewatched the first 4, and then we started at the 5th one. And then next week, and we'll finish it up with 6 and 7 and do the podcast on Mission Impossible. Really looking forward to that. They've been dropping a whole bunch of clips and interviews. And one of the other things I've seen on Instagram is that they've been showing all the stunts. And so one of the things we're going to be doing on that episode is ranking the stunts from the entire series. So that should be a lot of fun.
And hopefully by then, because Connor has his new printer, we can print the special thing.
Yep. Print the special thing.
No, I have to. The reason why it takes long, I have to do it on my computer, and I don't really have, or sometimes I don't have free time. So I could probably do it tonight.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say you don't have free time, and then every time we go in your room, you're just sitting there staring at your 3D printer doing its 3D print.
Because it's the first layers, they might mess up. But that was on the old one. This one's good.
Yeah, it's moving a lot faster.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's cool like to see in the background just moving.
I think it's printing a boat.
It's printing a Battle Cat if you played that game.
I love Battle Cat.
It's a what?
A Battle Cat.
Oh, I thought you said it was a butt.
I'll show you.
Nemo's gonna touch the butt.
I'm gonna paint the eyes white. It's halfway done.
Nice.
Wait.
Man, I love that game so much.
Cool.
I
Yeah.
got a
I'll show you a
Uber S
picture. Hold up.
rare.
Okay. Yeah, we've got
So
to
it's
we've
like
got to
the
get the
fat one?
special thing so we can put it on the special website, and we got to design the special T-shirts.
I'll do it.
I know you already had one design, but we got to get them up on the site.
It's from a video game,
Oh,
and
nice.
that's the cat.
It's
Okay.
adorable.
Cool. Very
I
nice.
have S+ cat in that.
What was that?
I have an S+ cat in that.
My cat's level 23.
Ooh.
Well, I am level 500 on Business Empire.
Do you have an Uber?
Uber.
Uber Bear?
Yeah, Uber Duber.
I have an Uber.
I have an Uber Duber.
I have Uber Eats.
Mm.
Get out!
Yep.
Was that a good usage of the meme?
No, it's like, get out! Has to be high pitched and short.
No,
No, you can't yell
he
it.
did it right if you watch the original video.
Thank you,
Get
Connor.
out! But you can't yell it.
Get out!
I've watched. I knew the meme before it was popular. By the way,
This is going to be a great reel on Instagram. It's just all the get outs. Get out.
Get out!
And then we'll show the episode for, hey, click here to see our discussion on the movie Get Out.
Want to know what's from?
What is
know
it
what's
from?
from? So some guy was playing GTA and he had the car and it was a monster truck and he was going to a car meet and the people kept saying, "Bro, you gotta leave." And this one guy said, "Get out," and it sounded like the bald guy from Breaking Bad, like the guy was tight. It sounded like that guy.
Yeah.
People are like clipping it, but then like not recently, it was a little bit ago. People started seeing it, I guess, but I saw it before it was popular. That's cool.
Nice. Very nice. Hey, we got to put our phones away, bro.
Colton's on his phone.
I need to see who the bald guy from Breaking Bad is.
Why?
It's Walter White.
It's no, not Walter White.
No, his brother-in-law.
No, not him.
Have you watched Breaking Bad?
I have watched Breaking Bad twice, all the way through.
Have you ever marathon on Friends?
Not marathon, but we watched the whole series.
I want to marathon Friends for the 50th time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Oh, it's Taco.
Got it?
Taco?
Taco
Cat.
Tuesday.
Ready for taco.
Yeah. So let's jump into the movies. First one we watched, Liar Liar, starring Jim Carrey, came out in 1997. I was a junior in high school. Also starring Maura Tierney, Amanda Donahue, Jennifer Tilly, Carrie Elwes, who was in Princess Bride. I don't know if you remember when we watched that one. But yeah, the little kid's name is Justin Cooper, but I haven't seen him in anything else. So, Liar Liar, Colton, do you feel up for giving a rundown? Nope.
Possibly.
What's that face?
We could just do a short synopsis. Don't have to do like beat by beat, but like just kind of like the premise.
Yeah, so at the very start, there's this dad who broke up with a wife.
They were
Something.
separated. Yeah.
And then his son said he wants to play with his dad more, but his dad's a liar and he lies about everything because he's a lawyer. And then the son's birthday came up and the dad missed it, and then the son said what he wanted was his dad to stop lying, and then his dad stopped lying. He physically couldn't. And then a lot of funny things happen. The climax happens. They're about to fly away to Denver because the new husband wants to go to Denver. Or no, it's Boston.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then they went to Boston. But then the liar guy was riding like an escalator car thingamajobber.
Yeah, the moving steps.
Yeah, and then he told them to stop the plane, then they stopped, and that's the basic.
Yeah, that's the basic premise. So, Dad, what are some of the funny parts that you guys remember? What was your favorite funny part?
This pin is I forgot it. It was it's a blue pin, but it was this pin.
He's trying to say red.
Really blue.
Royal blue. Yeah, royal blue.
Me.
Yep, that's good. What about you, Connor?
Whenever he starts beating himself up in the bathroom and that guy's just watching, why are you still watching? Just get out.
Great callback. Zeke, what about you?
Okay, so it's this really funny part when he starts making fun of his boss and all of his friends.
Yes.
That was hilarious.
That was funny. Yeah, so one of my favorite parts that I do, I actually quote this a lot. And it's just a very short clip. and he's walking out of the elevator, and you just see everybody behind him going like this, and then he turns around and says, "It was me."
It was me.
And then he walks
Whoa.
away.
That was a bit
So
loud.
I quote that a lot. If I did something, I'll do that quote from the movie. So a couple of the other things that I think are important to point out around his character is that up until this point, he has just lied to win cases. He's lied to do whatever. He has no moral compass, really. He just tries to win. So his boss, who's a lady, gets him assigned to this case where this woman wants to take half of her husband's, like, they're getting divorced, and she wants half of his money, even though she doesn't deserve half because she signed a prenup, meaning at the beginning of a marriage, before you get married, a prenup is basically saying, hey, if this thing doesn't work out, you do not get, like, you get this much, but you don't get everything. If people are married and there's no prenup, then when they get divorced, they can split everything evenly. But because she signed a prenup and this guy was super rich, he's like, no, you don't get that money. So she's suing him, and then they get him to do the case because one of the parts of the prenup is if they're getting divorced because she cheated on him, then she doesn't get any money. But because of a technicality, he's able to get around all of his struggles of trying to tell the truth. He finds something that actually is true that helps, that breaks the case. And so she wins. And then what is he feeling after he wins that case?
Regret. Because she treats her children really bad and she got the children.
Yeah. While he's dealing with all the relational stuff with his son, it's like this case is going on. It's kind of back and forth of how he's trying to deal with, the fact that his son might be moving away and how he wants to do the right thing now. And he's learning, like, one of the key moments in the script is when he tells somebody, I think it's his wife. They're separated, but he tells her, "I'm a bad father." And then he realizes, wait, that's true. That's truth. He was trying to say I'm a good father, but he couldn't. So he told the truth, which is I'm a bad father. And that kind of was this turning point for him to realize that he wanted to be a better father, that he didn't want to be a bad father anymore. One of the other things I think is really good about all three of these movies, but particularly the first two, is that there's this arc that happens between the character and when they finally come into their kind of their power or their whatever the uniqueness is. So in this movie, he's doing all these bad things. Like, leading up to that, he's doing all these bad things. He's sleeping with his boss. He's lying to everybody. He's lying to his secretary. We're seeing him do all these bad things. And then there's a turning point where he realizes, I don't want to do that anymore. And then that kind of shows that he's changed internally. So that's what one of the key things about this movie is, that it does show some stuff that's a little bit inappropriate for younger kids, that it's kind of a little bit more older in content. But the movie is not saying this is how you should live. The movie is saying, see how bad this guy is, and then what's the turning point, and then he becomes better after that point. So it happens again in Bruce Almighty, but there's a little bit of uniqueness that I like about Bruce Almighty too that we'll get to. Any other funny parts? Any other key moments in the movie that you guys remember?
Children are not leverage.
The one where he gets pulled over by the cop, and he does the really long spiel all in one breath. That was pretty funny too. There's a lot of really funny moments where he's trying to tell the truth. I think that royal blue one is one of the best because it's and then he like writes it on his face and everything. And that whole physical gag where he's trying to keep his hand away from himself. It's pretty funny. But like his secretary got him to tell the truth, and why she didn't get the raise was just because he didn't want to pay for it. So that was a good turning point too, because he's finding himself being all alone. All the people that were in his life are now done because he's telling the truth. So were they really friends, or were they really support?
No.
No.
But she did come back.
She did come back because she cares about him for sure. Very cool.
Can I go get that?
Sure.
Show the fans. I said me.
He's bald.
That's literally how they're
He has no eyes. He's blind.
Here we go.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Hey, can you turn your light on so we can see you better?
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. So nothing more about Liar Liar?
No.
We're good? Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and rate it. Connor, why don't you go first?
I rated a 4.
Cool. Colton?
You know, I'm a more tough judge, so I give it a 3.5.
Okay. Zeke?
4.5.
Zeke is-
It was
Okay.
really good. I liked it.
And I will give it a 4.5. One of the things I do have to say is I didn't say this earlier, but there is a good moment at the very end when he's riding the mobile staircase to try and stop the train, and he falls and breaks everything, and he's laying there on the gurney, and he does realize like he really does love his son and wants to spend time with him. And then that's like they say, oh, but he's not telling. He's past the time that he made the wish. It's been 24 hours, but he's like, no, but I'm telling you the truth. I really do love you. And then what happens at the very end?
They kiss.
The mom and dad get back together.
For some reason, I was thinking like of the kid and the guy, and then Zeke said they kissed, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Cool.
That movie got an average of 3.875.
Nice.
Let's get a kudos clap on 3 for Liar Liar. 1, 2, 3.
Dang it.
I missed.
So Zeke, Bruce Almighty is one of your favorites.
Yes.
Do you want to give the rundown?
Yes.
Go for
I
it.
would love to. So basically, Bruce is a news person, who does not get any live things. But eventually he did get one, and then he realizes that Evan Baxter stole his line from the cookie thing that he did at the start. You have to watch it. We're not doing that one. So then he just flips out, and he's like, ah! And
Gets fired.
Yeah. And then he's like, God, why do you hate me? Give me a sign. And then there's a truck with a bunch of stop signs, and then he's telling him to stop. He's like, oh, yeah. Can you get out of the way, man? And then he crashes. And then the guy's like ringing. He keeps getting called.
Beeps.
On a pager.
Yeah, it's a beeper.
Or a beeper. That's close.
Mm-hmm. And then he threw it out the window. Then it actually still calls. And he's like, he decides to call it. And he's like, do you want to be God? Do you want to be God? Is your name Bruce?
Mm-hmm.
Then come to this address.
Mm-hmm.
And then God, Morgan Freeman, God tell him he cannot mess with free will because God gave them that power. And he can
Take it away.
he can't take it away.
He can't mess with free will.
There was 3 rules, I think.
Can't make someone fall in love with you. Oh, I remember this. The third one is you can't tell anybody you're God.
Yeah. That's
You don't
Nice.
want that attention.
Yep.
And then he goes to this cafe, he freaks out, then he realizes, I am God.
And what does he do at the cafe?
He splits the soup.
Oh,
the
red sea.
Like the Red Sea.
Yes.
Get it? Because the soup's red. But
I don't get it.
Okay. Once he realizes he has the power, what does he do?
Goes on a rampage.
He goes on a rampage, and
he does whatever he wants.
He answers a bunch of prayers, and there's like a typing gift thing. I've seen it.
Yeah, he hears all the all the prayers, and he's like annoyed by it. So he says, let's send all these prayers. Well, that was a funny bit too, where he's like, how can I make this organized? And he says, let me do a filing cabinet. And then his apartment fills with filing cabinets. And he's like, well, maybe Post-its. And then it's filled with Post-its. And then he decides he wants to send it to his email. And so that's when then he's
Yahweh.
like trying to, yeah, instead of Yahoo.
Yahweh. Dang.
Yeah.
And then he gets coffee, and then he's like, it's good.
Yeah, and types up really fast. And then what does he end up doing? He's like, this is too much work.
I'm going to go to... He gets the anchor position.
No, what does he do?
He answers them all with yes.
Yeah. That's not good, is it?
No.
Mm-mm.
What ends up happening?
Everyone wins the lottery.
And?
Anarchy.
Yeah. What else?
It was chaotic. There was like unicorns. Oh, by the way, it was National Unicorn Day yesterday.
Nice. Good to know.
I have a triple.
Zeke, I think you have something on your third
I'll
chin.
probably save this for later.
Okay.
Like for our favorite parts.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he says yes to everything. What was something else he did? He lassoed the moon. Yep.
You want the moon, baby? I'll
Well,
give
and
you the
then
moon.
it caused like the
tides.
tides, yeah.
Yeah, it ruined
Because the
tides and
moon,
made things
the
flood.
moon's gravity brought it
Yep.
like
The
bigger.
meteor
So
thing?
all of his actions as God are having consequences, like major consequences, because he's being selfish and using the powers for himself, not for the world. Because he thought, I mean, the whole thing came around as like, if you just give me one day as God, I'd do better than you would. You know, he said something like that when he was in the
Smite
street.
me, almighty smiter!
Yep.
Zeke's
good.
literally copying pasting this movie. That's insane.
I know, it's epic. What happened after that? So he goes through and his life is ruined.
And then he's like, God, how do you do this? I surrender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he thought it was the light of heaven and it was a truck, and he gets hit by the truck.
And God's like, oh, that didn't feel good. Oh, that didn't feel good.
Yep.
What? Why did my voice go weird? Oh no, I'm turning
And then
evil.
what does he decide? What does he decide about his girlfriend? Because he kept trying to win her back. Like when he was with her and she loved him, when he was trying to manipulate her, it was working, and she was feeling love for him back. And then later in the movie, when she dumped him, he was trying to do the same thing, trying to make her love him. And what was happening?
She didn't.
Yeah, she didn't feel anything. And so it was like showed that where you can't make somebody love you, but if they love you, then there's this kind of thing. But when they don't love you, you can't control them. Like that's not what love is. So then, what does he say to God at the end about his girlfriend?
I don't know. He's
He
like,
says, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said he was sorry, and he said he just wanted her to be happy. He didn't need her to be with him.
yeah. She eventually did go with him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. A bird just hit our window.
I want to see it.
So, yeah. So that's kind of. So then, at the end of the movie, he basically says, "I want her to be happy," and then she ends up still wanting to be with him at the end. So that was nice. What was the lesson he learned?
He learned that being God is hard, man. Being God is so hard. Like, if I was God, I would do the same thing as him.
You'd be selfish and
I
ruin it for everybody?
I wouldn't ruin it for everybody. I'd still give some people permission to do the things they want, but I wouldn't just be like, yes, 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 and not actually read through all the prayers. It's very hard to manage 6 million or billion prayers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't you just slow down time? You could
He
do
could
that
have.
before people.
He didn't think about that. Connor, what would you say that he learned along the way?
That you can't force love. That's pretty obvious. You should think about this one. You should just let somebody be happy, and like, if yeah. I guess that's it. It's hard to explain. Yeah.
All right, I'll say my moral till the end, but let's go ahead and Connor, you had a favorite part you wanted to talk about.
I thought the part where he split the cars, it was kind of like the soup for me, I guess. But he split the cars and then he drove down. I think it was a old Porsche. I think. Yeah.
We had the new car, yeah, and he had to hurry up and get to work so that he could make fun of Evan and make Evan do the funny faces and stuff. I think that was my favorite part was when he was doing the funny, like he was making Evan say weird things. It's kind of funny. So Jim Carrey plays Bruce. Jennifer Aniston plays his girlfriend Grace, which is where do we hear the word grace a lot?
Like, God
In the
gives you
Bible.
grace.
Yep. Unmerited favor is kind of the official definition. So he's getting grace at the end. Huh? Get it?
Yeah, I do get it.
Morgan Freeman plays God. A couple of the others. The other big one that kind of comes out of this movie is Steve Carell plays Evan, and Evan is Bruce's rival at the news studio, Channel 5 News or whatever. So pretty cool.
The reason Grace broke up with Bruce was because he was trying to stop Susan Ortega at the start, but then he was kind of like slowly getting into it. Like he was enjoying kissing Susan Ortega. So
Yeah.
and then Grace walked in and she's like,
Yep. She was trying to be patient with him the whole time, and then it kind of, that was the last straw. Colton, what was your favorite part? Or any funny parts that you remember?
The part where it was like, ah, la, 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 la.
That was your favorite part? Nice. Zeke, what about you?
Oh, no. I know. When he was crashing out on the old lady, because at the very start, like when Evan Baxter stole his thing, he was crashing out on everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. He brought the owner of the ferry, tour guide, and talking trash. Yeah, that was good.
yeah. So, in other news, the Prime Minister of Sweden visited Washington, and my tiny little nipples went to France. And I do the cha-cha. And I do the cha-cha and the freewee.
How did you remember that?
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah, that was pretty funny for sure.
And I searched up Bruce Almighty quotes before this, so.
Nice. So I'll say the kind of the moral for me, and kind of how it plays a little bit into Liar Liar, is the beginning of Liar Liar shows how bad of a guy that he is. Bruce Almighty also shows how bad of a guy Bruce is. He's selfish. He's only concerned about his job. Even when they're trying to make the scrapbook. Him and his girlfriend Grace are trying to make the photo album, and he doesn't care about that. He just cares about his job and cares about getting that promotion, not really caring about their relationship. So that's bad. And then when he gets the God powers, all he cares about is himself. He cares about him getting what he wants. And so all of that is kind of like Liar Liar, where you're seeing the bad side of this person is being highlighted along the way. And then there's a turning point where it all kind of flips, and then they see the error of their ways and they try to become better. Being selfish is not the right way to live life. And I think that's kind of, for me, that's what the moral of the story is that you could have all the powers of God, and if you're a selfish person, you're going to be a really bad God, But if you're a gracious person, a kind person, one that helps others and cares for others, then you're going to have a good life. So that's really what it comes down to. At the end of the movie, they bring the cookie people back. That was pretty funny. They make a big cookie, and then he's satisfied and he's happy being the reporter on the street, whereas before he wasn't. He finds out I need to just be satisfied with where I'm at and just do my best, and then that'll be a better life for me. So cool stuff. All right, let's rate it. Connor, why don't you go first?
4. I think I used 4 it feels like I used 4 all the time, but
You said that last time too.
It's just the perfect number.
Yeah, it means you had a good time with it. It wasn't the best movie in the world, but you had fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Colton?
4.
Zeke?
4.
I give it a 4. The 4s win it! The 4s win it! All right, so let's move on to the last movie that we're going to talk about today is Evan Almighty. And it takes Evan. I'm going to do this one so it can be fast. Evan, who played by Steve Carell, gets basically, instead of being a news anchor anymore, at the very beginning of the movie, he moves from his town because he's won a congressman position for his state, and so he has to move to Washington. So he moves to Washington with his family. His family's very supportive and all that stuff. When he gets there, he realizes that there's a lot of pressure on him to do to follow suit with this other congressman who wants to do basically take over some of the national parks and be really selfish and make a lot of money off of all the government land and stuff. But in the process, while he's there, he starts seeing things and starts hearing things. One of the things he sees is Genesis 3:12. It's on his alarm clock. And then what was that?
3:14.
3:14?
No, 6:14.
Thank you. Genesis 6:14. Good call. And what is that? Colton, why don't you look that up? So then he sees that everywhere. He starts to grow a beard. He starts to get weird things delivered to him. And then he starts to put things together, and he looks it up in the Bible. And Genesis 6:14 says what?
Build a large boat from cypress wood and waterproof it with tar, inside and out. Then construct decks and stalls throughout its interior.
Yes. And then Morgan Freeman shows up and says, basically, yeah, I need you to build a boat because there's a flood coming. And so he basically takes on the role of Noah. And there's a little bit of play on here, like with the movie called Santa Claus, where Tim Allen has to be Santa, and he starts growing facial hair, and every time he shaves it, it grows back. Kind of the same gag happens in this movie with him, and he becomes Noah, basically. Beard, long hair, then it turns white and all this stuff. God delivers him a nice tunic and stuff. And then all the animals start showing up, and that's a really funny bit too, because there's 2x2 and the birds are crashing into his office. And then he actually gets the animals to help him build the ark. They build the ark. People are making fun of him. People are laughing at him. And then an accident happens that was the cause of that other congressman skirting regulations to build the dam. The dam breaks, all the water flows in, destroys the entire subdivision while he gets all the people on the boat so they can be rescued. And then it crashes into the Congress area. He walks out and talks to them and tells them, like, basically it's because of their greed that this happened. And then, yes, at the very end, he says, "Thou shalt do the dance."
This is not the outro. This is not the outro.
Oh, my bad. What are you going to say, Colton?
I was going to say that's kind of ironic because birds are crashing into his office and you guys are in your office and a bird crashed into it earlier.
Nailed it.
Are we?
We are. I'm Noah.
Dad,
Stop!
You already have the white. You have the white beard.
Got the white beard and everything. All
and
right.
the white hair.
Yes. Okay.
But now there's no dye.
Let's do favorite parts.
I want to say something.
I knew it.
Okay. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so John Goodman plays Congressman Long, and he's the same voice actor as Sully.
In what movie?
That's your favorite part?
Monsters Inc. and Monsters University.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
We need to do a podcast on that.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's do it for
That could be a
Halloween.
kid podcast.
What's that? That could be a kid one.
A kid podcast.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Kids that make you ...
No.
It's going to be the
Movies-
same podcast, just
Just a different episode. All right. Colton, what about you? What's your favorite part?
Thou shalt do the dance.
Me.
Whenever he was like the whole process of building the ark, it was really cool.
Yeah. He got all that wood delivered, and then the realtor shows up, who is Molly Shannon, by the way, and he's bought all of the subdivision lots so that he has space to build the ark, and all the wood and all the things and all the tools and all that stuff is really funny. And then another piece is that he's put his job before his family all the time, and they thought this would be different. And so then when he does get there, he ends up having to do work more than his family. And then he tries to use the ark to be a way to kind of connect with his kids. And then his wife is really frustrated because she doesn't believe about the Noah stuff. And then, so she leaves with the kids, and then she ends up coming back, and they finish doing things as a family. So happy ending. Connor, what about you? What's your favorite parts?
Whenever they're just I thought whenever I first saw him building a boat, I thought it was gonna be longer, but it wasn't. It was. I thought it was gonna be 4 days, 4 nights, but was it? So, I guess the part where they're just riding in the boat and it's going side to side, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And the graphics were really good for this time.
It was 2007.
Two other people that are in this that are somewhat fairly large names is Wanda Sykes. It's a comedian. She plays one of his I think his secretary or whatever. Secretary. And then Jonah Hill plays Eugene, who's basically the assistant, and he's really funny in the movie for sure. Zeke, what about your favorite part?
My favorite part was I don't know actually. Oh wait, now I remember when she was like, "No, what are you doing? It's raining. What are you doing? Move over! I'm going on. I'm going on the ark. Move over."
That's not a bad impression for sure. Yeah, I think for me my favorite part was just the moral of the story of learning to trust, learning to to care. Oh, that was the big thing. The big takeaway for his character arc was that at the beginning of the film, he doesn't really care about animals or the environment. It shows that a couple times. One with the big vehicle he got to start his journey to Washington. Then when he's getting cabinets, he's like, the guy's like, here's two options. This one's really good if you don't care about the environment. He's like, ooh, let's take that one. So they were kind of very, very particularly putting it like in our faces that he's one that doesn't care about the environment or animals or anything like that. Then at the end, he realizes that we all need each other. So cool. Any other thoughts we want to say about Evan Almighty?
You gotta rate it.
Just rate it and we're done? Okay. Let's start with Zeke.
5.
5?
Yes.
Colton?
5.
Come on. 5.
Nice. I don't want to ruin it, so I won't give my rating.
Oh my.
3 5s. Out of 3.5. 3.5.
What?
Yeah. See, I didn't want to ruin it. I'm
It's
glad you guys
very
liked it.
embarrassing.
I'm glad you guys liked it.
Anyway,
That's awesome. Thank you guys for watching the podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time. And until then,
thou shalt do the dance. Wow.
thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, just a reminder, you can check out all of our links at bio.site/moviesthatmakeyou. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. But until next time, keep watching movies.